This one is so major because majority of people do this once a year for a week, or they don't do it for 2 or 3 years, and this is a major thing. Hello, my love. Welcome back to Arouse for another episode. And if you're new around here, welcome to the podcast. I'm Sam, your host and personal life coach. Today's episode is how to create boundaries within yourself for a more confident and productive you. And I'm going to be sharing 9 boundaries that you need to have with yourself in order to do this. So let's dive in. Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. All right, my love, before we get into all the juicy tea of today's episode, make sure to follow or subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're on. And if you love today's episode, make sure to leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or leave me a comment on YouTube. I would love to get some feedback from you. When you don't make boundaries for yourself and stick to them, it leaves you on the fence of heading over to overwhelm, burning yourself out, and feeling utterly exhausted. So if you are tired of feeling like that, then this episode is definitely for you. And we're going to start diving in right now. Number 1 is having a set bedtime. When you set your bedtime for yourself, and think about even when you were little and your parents would be like, hey, it's time for bed. We're going to start getting ready for bed. It's the same kind of idea where you want to give yourself enough time to get ready for bed or do things before you go to bed to prepare yourself for the next day. I have an amazing night routine that I love to do. Within doing all the things for my nightly routine, it makes me feel more prepared, productive, and confident in the morning. And if you don't have a bedtime routine with your set bedtime, then it's hard to become more confident and productive in the morning because you're like, oh shit, what am I wearing for work? Or what am I wearing when I go to school? Where's my water bottle? Where's my backpack? Where's my purse? What shoes am I wearing? Like, there's so many things that if you just prepare yourself the night before, then you wake up, you know where everything is. You don't misplace or forget something at home that you're going to actually need. And that's how it can help you become more confident and productive. And with that, you need to give yourself enough time for your nightly routine in order to get to bed at the time that you want. So it's almost like reverse engineering it. If you want to go to bed at 10 or 10:30, then you'd figure out, okay, how long is it going to take me to do my night routine so I can get to bed by 10 or 10:30? Number 2 is deciding the max amount of time that you can dedicate to work each week. Whether you're working full or part-time, if you work full-time, then your employer, or even if you own your own business, there might be the option to work overtime to make double time or time and a half. You ultimately get to make the decision whether if you have certain savings goals or if you're just like, no, I need to rest. I can't work anymore. I'm already burnt out this week. I need to take care of myself. Or you're on the verge of burning out. You're like, no, that would push me over the edge. And knowing your limits, that is up to you. So you need to decide on how many hours or the max amount of time that you want to work each week, and really listen to your body as well. So even though you might have certain savings goals, would it do worse for your health overall if you took that overtime, if you worked extra hours than if you did less? So that's something that you have to consider as well. Number 3 is setting limits on screen time. This includes watching TV, being on social media, being on your phone, responding to emails or messages, talking on the phone, watching something on your tablet, because that's a thing as well. If you don't have a big TV, or if you live at home and your parents are upstairs watching TV, then you watch on your iPad or whatever tablet that you have. It's all considered screen time, and making sure that you are not overdoing it, because I don't know about you, but with me, if I'm on my computer or just on screens way too much during the day, then my eyes actually feel tired. They almost like start to hurt and get tired. So I don't know if you feel that way for yourself, but I definitely get that. And I also don't like looking at a screen all day, every day. Number 4 is setting a range of how many times a week that you're going to exercise. exercise. Even things that you don't think are exercise or may not be awesome examples of exercising. I take my dog for a walk. That's exercising. I'm tidying, organizing, cleaning my house. That is a form of exercising. It's not vigorous exercise, but I'm moving my body. Gardening. Summer's coming up. I'm going to be doing a lot of landscaping and gardening outside. That is a type of exercise. It's more low impact and not as vigorous, but it's still a type of exercise. And then you can also compare that to playing a sport or going to the gym and lifting weights or running on a treadmill, running outside. Those are all examples of exercise, and there are so many more. You can even take group classes, and even if you don't want to go back to the gym, there's so much awesome stuff on YouTube. If you're listening to this on YouTube, there are so many different resources that I've used myself. I love the Fitness Marshal for dancing to new music. It's like Zumba, but even better. And there's so many different channels depending on what kind of exercise that you want to do, and it's all for free. If you don't want to try out a subscription and you end up hating it, or try and buy a membership to a gym and absolutely hate it, try some stuff on YouTube first or another platform where you can get access to some free content and see how that goes for you first. Number 5 is limiting days you drink alcohol or how much alcohol that you drink every week. Now, if you're sober, like myself, then you can use this in a different sense of maybe it's carbonated drinks or sugary drinks. I really like to drink diluted juice or sometimes carbonated drinks like Pepsi and 7-Up. And I do try to limit those instead because I don't drink alcohol anymore. Even if you do still drink alcohol, you could also consider this as well, because there's a lot of empty calories in that as well. And not that I'm saying that you need to be very strict on your diet and empty calories are a no-no and they're super bad, but limiting them is going to be better for your health. So come up with a number, or if you're thinking, I'm drinking a lot of fill in the blank, I want to cut back, I'm going to slowly start cutting back and get to the level that I'm comfortable with, or quit completely. Number 6 is keeping a budget. So making sure that you look at the income that's coming in every month or every 2 weeks. If you are hourly based and your hours change on a bi-weekly basis for work, then figure out how much income is coming in about every month and look at your expenses and see where maybe you're going over, where you can save a little bit more and cut back on certain things, and just making sure that you're keeping a healthy budget for yourself so you're not spending more money than there is coming in. Because when you do that, then it's going to make buying a vehicle or buying a house a lot more difficult than if you are going to be very budget friendly, making sure that there's more money coming in than going out so that you can start saving for that down payment for your house. Number 7 is deciding how often to travel or go on vacation and stick to it. So I love this one because think about even when you were back in high school, from ages 5 to 18, when you're in school, you get 2 months vacation every single year. And if you ever go to university and you normally just do the fall and winter semesters, then you get 4 months off for quote unquote vacation, depending if you work or whatnot. And as adults, I know some people in my life that haven't had a vacation in 3 years. I know certain people that take a 2-week vacation every single year. And I know some people that even take staycations once every month or two, which could be like a trip to Banff for the day or for the weekend. And if you're not sure where I am, I'm in Calgary, so going to Banff is like an hour drive. Once you get out of the city limits, that would be considered like a staycation. So anything that's within like a couple hours away from you, even, up to 5 hours could be maybe a staycation, depending how far you're wanting to drive. Number 8 is go to medical appointments when they're needed. So going to see your doctor, your dentist, if you go see a chiro, make sure that your bones are all aligned, and et cetera, et cetera. There's so many different healthcare professionals out there, and obviously getting a physical every 5 years is something very standard in our society. But one thing that I find that doesn't always happen with physicals is they don't always always send you for blood work. So if you haven't had blood work, or if there's certain things that you're concerned about, or you just want all your blood work done, then you need to request this of your doctor. And that's one unfortunate thing about the medical industry, the healthcare industry, is doctors aren't always like, hey, like, let's do this. There's been many times that I've had to request lab requisitions and blood work because I'm like, well, I don't think I've had blood work for this, or like, shouldn't we test for this? So if you have a concern, or if you just want all your fucking blood work done, you need to request this of your doctor. And obviously with your dentist, going for your cleaning biannually, so once every 6 months, or if your hygienist recommends that you come every 3 months, because that is the thing. If your calculus and plaque it generates more than the average person, then they do require you to come in every 3 months. But that is up to the expertise of your dental hygienist. And then going to see your dentist, hopefully for the same time, or going in for a recall when you have your second visit of the year, and just making sure that everything else is good. You don't have any cavities, you don't need any other work done. If you have like a broken tooth, then you need to take care of that. And number 9 is paying your bills on time. So this kind of goes in with keeping a budget, but what's interesting about not paying your bills on time is there's always late fees. So it just makes it more rather than if you just paid it on time. And this is something that I used to do with my cell phone bill. I would pay it once every 3 months, but there would be late fees on 2 of those months. So it would be between $10 and $20 just for late fees, rather than if I just paid it on time every month, I would have an extra $20 to $40 in my account, rather than just forgetting to pay it or just not paying it for whatever reason. It saves you money in the long term when you pay your shit on time, because I've made that mistake myself. So learn from my mistake and pay your bills on time so you can save money. So those were the 9 boundaries to create for yourself so that you can become more confident and productive. And I found this from Amanda White. This was posted on Instagram at Therapy for Women. So I'm going to link that in the show notes if you want to go check them out in that account. I like to follow them on Instagram for lots of other information. But what was your favorite out of the 9? Let me know by sending me an email to SamanthaPopCoaching@gmail.com, or leave me a question in your rating or review, or leave me a comment on YouTube. I would love to hear from you. Make sure to stick around for my next episode. I love you so much, and I will see you next time.